Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you with us today. My name is Brian Vandria. I am the Marketing Communications Manager here at Industrial Software Solutions. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us today for our featured webinar, Connected, Consolidated, and Contextualized, Maximize the Value of Data with a Unified Operations Center. We've got a lot of great information to share with you in this presentation today, including a Unified Operations Center demonstration. If at any point you have questions, please feel free to type them into the GoToWebinar question box, and we will answer them at the conclusion of this presentation. We'll also be asking a few poll questions near the end where, we look forward to learning more about the topics you would like us to cover in the near future. We value your input, and, we want to discuss the things that are most relevant to you and the work you do. With that said, I'm now going to turn it over to our presenter, Jason Spears, Senior System Consultant here at Industrial Software Solutions. Jason, take it away.
All right, thank you, Brian. So I want to start off by talking about a few common challenges that people in industry face. And according to L&S research, the two main issues preventing organizations from achieving operational excellence are lack of collaboration across departments and disparate systems and data sources. So to put in other words, organizational and technical silos. So even though this survey was done for manufacturing, I'm sure the challenges that you experience and experience in other industries is very similar. Given this, it's obvious that a platform that could harmonize and distill data from different systems, present that data as information to various stakeholders, and in a format that is both real-time and actionable would be a good thing. There are many factors that contribute to these challenges. Now, more than any other time, collaboration is being impacted by geography today. People are working remotely or from home, and organizations have locations scattered over the world, really. And functional silos also exist between departments and within departments. Informal collaboration across these boundaries is inconsistent, whereas formal methods of sharing information across these boundaries can be static, subject to delays, and otherwise limiting their effectiveness. Legacy communication tools such as text, emails, and voice calls are truly insufficient for the demands of the modern industrial environment. These systems also have communication issues with one another. So even though vast amounts of data exist in electronic format, the software packages that contain the information were probably not designed to share that data with unrelated systems. So the data in the systems is structured for the function of that software, and they lack both the context and the protocols to directly exchange machine to machine. For example, if I look at my control system software, it knows nothing about my engineering CAD drawings and vice versa. So even within classes of equipment, many different standards can coexist, resulting from different vendor solutions, different vintages of equipment, or resulting from things like mergers and acquisitions. Technology is also advancing faster than ever. So emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented and virtual reality, so AR and VR, and cloud are already delivering incredible value. However, they still have challenges interacting in a meaningful way with our legacy systems. So what could it do for an organization if these challenges could be overcome? So what if across the organization, people could collaborate regardless of where they're located and regardless of the type of device they were using? What if data was not constrained to functional silos and users could look at all the available data in context that was relevant to their role or the question they were trying to answer? What if exceptions or abnormal conditions could be detected in real time or even prevented with the help of predictive notifications rather than waiting for some kind of report or worse, a failure? What if all relevant information about a piece of equipment or a process was readily available from one environment without having to manually navigate through numerous systems? What if information was presented to the user in a common format regardless of the make or model of the system that the data originated from? And what if all of this capability was future friendly with the ability to leverage future technologies as they become available? My goal today is to show you how this is happening as we speak, leveraging solutions from Aviva, specifically an offering called the Unified Operations Center. The Unified Operations Center, or as I'll refer to it in shorthand, the UOC, allows organizations to leverage information, breaking down organizational and technical silos. This results in enhanced knowledge discovery, organizational agility, and next-level collaboration. Costs and other business drivers can be tracked granularly, problems identified in advance, risks better understood and either mitigated or, better yet, avoided altogether. A centralized UOC can provide a God's eye view across the entire organization, aiding in the identification of problem areas, or just as useful, identifying bright spots that can be learned from and replicated. So Aviva's approach to providing this unified operations perspective starts with a systems of systems philosophy. This concept involves leveraging data, information, and capabilities from otherwise disparate systems into a cohesive system. The systems that are interfaced include traditional enterprise solutions that live in the IT domain, such as ERP software, MES software, maintenance management software, or reporting databases. Another category of systems are industrial technologies living in the operations domain that control or monitor the machinery or processes. These can include industrial controllers such as PLCs, DCSs, RTUs, or drives. They could also include Internet of Things sensors, smart meters, data entered manually from operators, or information from local HMI, plant historians, and custom databases. So the list of possible systems is practically endless, and most organizations have dozens or even hundreds of different ones. However, just because a data source is available does not necessarily mean it should be included. The cost of maintaining a data connection is not zero, and there should be a justification to include it. A practical approach to the adoption of UOC solution is to initially integrate a small number of systems that provide a clear value to the organization by solving one or more tangible challenges. From there, the other use cases can be leveraged using the infrastructure already installed. But the intent is not simply to integrate systems to show the raw information, nor would the UOC typically be a replacement for a traditional control room or remote operating center. Rather than real-time monitoring and control or SCADA functionality, the UOC is typically responsible for providing higher-level context, such as generating and displaying key performance indicators. It is a portal into the various disparate systems that contain information on an asset, and much of the power of the UOC comes from providing information in context. This idea of information in context is the idea behind the digital twin, an important topic we'll discuss next. A simple definition of a digital twin is the attempt to approximate some aspect of a physical device, process, or system in a computer. Now, there's no way to do this perfectly. Depending on the computer model created and the information available, different types of digital twins can exist, however. For example, a supply chain digital twin could model production inputs, inventories, marketing conditions, and transportation factors to determine the optimum production level to maximize profit. In any case, digital twins take inputs, apply some kind of model, and attempt to predict behavior. During this presentation, I will use a pump and drive to illustrate the concepts of a digital twin, and later we'll see it in action during the demo. In this example, our pump twin contains a wide range of attributes, from process conditions to nameplate information to maintenance information. This information originates in systems that know nothing about each other, and it is the UOC's unified model that creates this context where applicable. For example, information from our control system could include real-time values, historical process values, as well as alarm information. Other information such as set points, tuning parameters, alarm thresholds, and configuration information may be accessible as well. Similarly, engineering systems also contain a wealth of information. 1D or one-dimensional data sources includes data stored as tables, documents, or spreadsheets. Examples could include things like instrument piping or wiring indexes, shutdown keys, mechanical specifications, or it could even include equipment manuals. 2D engineering data are traditional CAD drawings. So things like P&ID drawings, process flow, plot plans, piping isometric drawings. And finally, 3D data sources include 3D models and 3D CAD and renderings made from laser scans of the facility. When brought into the system, these can be interactive, as we'll see later in the demo. Access to maintenance management systems can provide access to maintenance history, including past and pending work order requests, bills of materials, spares inventory, maintenance scheduling, and work instructions. And asset management can provide enhanced visibility into equipment performance and health. The list of these different applications is very extensive. I'm not going to go into all of them. But the concept to take away is that both Aviva native and third-party applications can be brought into the digital twin, and it's the model within UOC that brings all of that into context. So having a digital twin and a unified model is one thing. However, to leverage the power of the digital twin, the users must have a way to navigate the model and access contextual content. Some of the information stored in the digital twin is stored in the UOC, and some is not. When it is not, the UOC knows how to look up the information from the source system and often presents it in context with minimal or no direct interaction from the user and the data source. Between the user and the data source, pardon me. Without this functionality, the user would have to find and retrieve the information manually, which is time-consuming and painful even for a small number of external systems. The savings in time and avoided costs due to improved responsiveness can be significant. The entire environment must be accessible through one portal. This concept is sometimes referred to as a single pane of glass. When we talk of a single pane of glass, we do not mean to suggest that a single monitor or a single video wall is used, but really a unified portal into the system exists. The UOC's user interface technology is Aviva's Operation Management Interface, or OMI, an industry-leading visualization technology that optimizes the display regardless of the form factor of the displays being used. This video shows some examples of the concept. Each monitor or display can show different content, and that content could be in the context of roles. For example, different subject matter experts could each have their own view of the operation based on their discipline, each displaying different default tools and KPIs. It could be many monitors, it could include support for mobile devices, and even massive video walls, such as in the example shown here. All serve simultaneously from the unified visualization technology. While the look and feel of the overall organization of the UOC displays is fully customizable, areas of the display, called panes, are assigned with different types of content. Information updates in real time. Users can provide drill down capability to show additional data granularity, and the panes can be interactive with each other. So selecting options in one pane can affect what is being displayed in the others. Here's an example of a smart city UOC display. Now, in a smart city environment, the map control is a vital component of the application. It supports pan and zoom navigation, and as you zoom in, the data granularity displayed automatically adjusts to the zoom level. Real-time data alerts can be placed on the map at their actual locations, and the GIS maps can be augmented with layers showing overlays, including things like weather and rainfall, traffic, utilities, etc. Other systems that would be integrated into a smart city would include utility information. So this could be information from the control systems monitoring and controlling water and wastewater, electric distribution, and it could also involve information from metering applications. Street lighting and traffic light controllers, that would be another common source of data. Other overlays could be things around emergency response, water and air quality monitoring, and it could even integrate tools for civic engagement. Here's the second view showing our smart city example. Now, you'll notice that there's a process mimic that provides a display of real-time values from the control system. However, an important concept to take away is that the UOC is not meant to replace traditional control room. It is meant to complement it. So the traditional control room is really around real-time monitoring control of the process, and it operates in a very tightly secured domain. The idea behind the smart city display is to pull back some of the key operating parameters into a higher level display that could potentially be looking across many local operating centers or many departments to coordinate things like emergency response or storm event planning or broader scope things such as that. All right. So with that, I would like to actually walk into a UOC demo. And this demo is built around a refinery application. So I'll bring this up, and Brian, if you could just let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see you.
Perfect. Okay. So what we're looking at here is one of the screens in a UOC designed for refinery operation. Now, when I say refinery operation, I'm actually talking about an organization that could run many facilities, including multiple refineries. It could include many aspects of their upstream and downstream supply chain. It really is that God's eye picture of an organization. And when we look at the summary overview, the idea behind it is to really pick off those top level metrics or KPIs that describe how the business units are operating. So literally, the top left one is some kind of a score. I don't know what it means, and every industry would have their own, every application would have their own. But for this application, it was deemed that this is a great single, either call it a thermostat score, a speedometer. This is a single at a glance look at how the organization is operating as a whole. There's some slightly more granular KPIs getting into the different divisions. And if we imagine this in a UOC video wall, for example, we would see more than one display. Now, unfortunately, some of the technical limitations of my demo is I only have one monitor that I can share with you right now. But if you can imagine, on the left-hand display, you have a large form factor monitor or part of a video wall that's the summary. And then at a glance, I can just pan over to the right, and I can start to look into different aspects of the operation. So this is a little bit more granular. And within that, within this application, they've identified different business units that you can pan through and look at some of the top level key performance indicators, some real-time values. And unfortunately, the way this demo updates, you're not going to see the history unless the screen is up, but you'll see some of the history back populating right now. Were this an actual application, you may see that 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day history already trended on the display. So one use case of this UOC that I think highlights well the concept of a digital twin is around incident response. So you can imagine if this is one of the big video displays on the wall, and if we see some kind of a notification pop up, this alert is really meant to be that there's some kind of a high level event that's affecting the overall operation of the organization. So this could be some kind of a plant shutdown or something more than just an individual equipment, tank level high. This would be something more that operates at a level where it's going to take some organizational level response in order to respond to it. So from there, as you'd expect, I can drill into that particular facility. And again, this facility has two screens as well. So my left-hand screen is divided up into different regions. The top left region is our advanced predictive analytics. So this is using machine learning and models based on the actual equipment performance. And there's what's analogous to a alarm banner in a DCS or a HMI environment, but this is really generating alerts based on machinery health and future predictions of failure. Now, the data underpinning that is a overall health score. We have predictions of the upper and lower boundaries of where that process variable should be at and where we're operating. And we can actually drill into that to get more granular details. So you can see the actual predicted and what kind of deviation. So the concept to take away here is that this is an application embedded into the UOC screen, and we have drill down capability to look at some of the source data. Similarly, we have a whole range of KPIs based on asset utilization, production versus planned. And again, these are going to be customizable based on your application and your industry. But the idea is that at a glance, I see that there are some things, related to that process event that are showing up on this screen. And if I wanted to diagnose it further, what I could do is, again, as I drill in, I can see that that alarm is somehow related to a vessel called my de-ethanizer. Drilling into that, I can see that it looks like I have some kind of a fault on a pump. That's the orange. And actually worse, that my production has dropped to 0. So this is probably that high level event alert that caused the notification on the main screen. This is the fact that you're not delivering product, you're not making money right now. So what can I do with this? So if I look at the way the digital twin is built off this, I can see that this is information coming from my control system. I have some other information coming from my maintenance management systems. I have access to engineering data, but maybe the first thing to do is just to try and restore production. So that pump, I'll bring it up. After that production event, that upset is restored, the next thing I'm going to want to do is troubleshoot what actually went on with this pump shutdown. So if I'm not familiar with where that is in the process, I want to step through, I could actually do things like simply by right-clicking on it, it'll actually bring up an interactive 3D model. So this is the 3D model of my facility that I triggered by clicking on my process diagram, but also at the same time, I can start to get things, something there. By selecting the various equipment in here, I can start to bring up other associated engineering diagram. So if you remember me talking about the 1D, 2D, and 3D engineering documents, again, in most normal organizations, those live in entirely isolated systems. It's only through technologies like Aviva engineering products that it can actually weave these together, and that is actually tied back into what's called, our digital twin. So now I can go right from some kind of alert that came from a control system. I can look at my production values drop off. I can find out where that is in my 3D diagram. I can look at my 2D P&ID diagram. I can actually even look at things like troubleshooting guides and HAZOP guides. And in this case, it's saying that one possible cause is something to do with a blockage of a strainer. So I could look at the piping diagram right from here. I could find that strainer. I could also look at the different nameplate information and the other ratings of the equipment pulled right into my screen without me having to do anything. And I can actually even see that, looking down here, that there's 13 different record sets out there, including things like my maintenance management system. I'm not even sure what's included in those 13, but this, in addition to things like the control system information, so the real-time values in the history, I have access to 13 other data sources just on the engineering side. And I can also look at things such as what are some of the recent events that happened with that. So with that pump, J9002A, I can see that there was a mobile inspection performed. I can see that there was a work permit pulled. So all of this information from one common portal, one pane of glass, and without me having to leave my desk. So, and you can imagine that from here, I don't have examples of it in the demo, but you could certainly also do things like initiate work order requests. You could view past work order information, and then using some of the new collaboration utilities from Aviva, you could actually even reach out to qualified plant personnel and right from this environment, engage them and then do some further on-site troubleshooting. So tremendously powerful environment. It leverages the digital twin, but it also provides that extra level of collaboration that would be very difficult to replicate any other way. So just going to switch back to PowerPoint quickly. So Brian, are you seeing my slide deck again?
I am, yes.
Perfect, okay. So I want to go a little bit into what's under the hood and demystify some of this for you. So for quite some time, if you were really ambitious and you had enough custom developers and you wanted to create something that looked like something that approximated a UOC, you could have done this with a tremendous amount of customization. Now, as anyone who's done customization and tried to maintain customized systems knows, the greater the customization, the more difficult and costly these systems are to develop and maintain. They're also very difficult and expensive to extend, to modernize. A whole host of problems come with that. So Aviva's approach is to offer the Unified Operations Center as what's called a productized solution. So for starters, Aviva's UOC builds on the capability of out-of-the-box software packages as the core technology. So this includes technologies that you may be familiar with, such as Aviva System Platform is a key part of UOC. Now, some of you may know Aviva System Platform as Wonderware System Platform. Same technology, Aviva's the new branding for it, and has carried on the research and development from the products that you know. Aviva Historian would also be included, Aviva's Operations Management Interface, HMI technology, as well as a host of other Aviva technologies from the asset performance, engineering, or operations technology portfolio. So there's a commercially available off-the-shelf software component to UOC. The UOC also includes industry-specific templated content that helps accelerate and scale UOC deployments. So if you're working with something like a data center, for example, there's going to be models for all of the different KPI calculations for all of the different HVAC components that you would find in a data center. And for some of the other things you would be looking to build into that solution. So starting off with out-of-the-box software and these templates, you're already well on your way to having an integrated solution. And then finally, there's some site-specific configuration and integration performed. And this is really what customizes it down to things like your naming standards, the look and the feel of your graphics, your navigation of your facilities. And that's the final piece that allows the Unified Operations Center to be delivered inexpensively, effectively, and makes it maintainable over time. So I realize that not every organization is in a position to take on a UOC type solution right now. No, however, every organization should be thinking about digitization and continuously evaluating technologies that could help them improve. At Industrial Software Solutions, we have experience working with customers to help them assess their current level of automation and identify potential technologies to enable improvement. One simple yet effective tool is what we called our level of automation assessment. And essentially what this is a maturity model that allows us to work with a customer to identify their automation strengths, their automation weaknesses, and technologies within the Aviva portfolio that can help them get to where they want to go. All right, so with that, I'll turn the presentation back over to Brian, who's going to discuss an upcoming event and lead us into Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. So what we wanted to do to segue from the levels of automation assessment there is to kind of check out how you folks are feeling about would you be interested in speaking with us regarding your automation needs. We'll give you just a few seconds here, and yeah. Gives folks a few minutes, perhaps, to see if they have any questions to ask as well. Yeah. All right, we'll just take a couple more seconds here. We'll just do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so looks like a few of you are interested in having an assessment of sorts done, so that's great information. Thank you for participating, folks. All right, yeah, so Jason, I'll do a quick plug here of an upcoming event here. If folks aren't aware, we will be involved in an event that we hope that you will be involved in as well, which is Aviva World Digital, taking place next week, as you see here, January 26th through the 28th, and that is next Tuesday through next Thursday. If you haven't registered yet, we really encourage you to check it out. Got a handy QR scanner on the page for you. It'll take you right to the registration page where you can take a look around at some of the sessions being offered, see who's going to be involved in the event, all that good stuff. Yeah, we hope you can join us there. Jason, any final comments? Anything else to share before we dive into some Q&A and a couple additional poll questions here?
No, looking forward to hearing any questions that anybody has. So don't be shy. Please put your questions forward.
Sounds good. Yes. Yeah. So please do take a couple moments, folks. If you do have a question, feel free to type it into the box here and we can get Jason's responses. Looks like we have one here to begin with. Jason, I'll kick this question to you here. We have a user saying we use a different vendor for our HMIs, I guess something not Aviva. And they are asking, could we still have some sort of UOC implementation, though we aren't using Aviva HMIs?
Yeah, absolutely you could. And in fact, so not only is the UOC approach, the systems of systems approach, not vendor specific for HMI, it's not even application specific necessarily. So if you have an industrial application that from whatever vendor that has some method to either get data or has APIs where you can interact with it, it could be a good target for implementation into a UOC. So there aren't a lot of vendor specific requirements. Now the caveat being, certainly there are going to be some like with Aviva technologies, we have much deeper integration and we can do a lot more with them. Some of the other integrations may be a little bit more basic, but in most cases, there's some form of interaction that can happen between UOC and your technologies.
All right, great. Thanks for the response there. Moving on, you know, let's fire off another poll question here. Next poll topic here. You know, we're really interested in getting some feedback from the folks attending here. You know, we're curious, what topics from this webinar might you most be interested in learning more about? So for example, you know, we've got connecting siloed data sources, consolidating data for ease of visibility, contextualizing data for different roles across your organization, or collaboration across your organization. So we'll wait just a few moments for folks to vote there and see what we come up with here. Certainly all valuable things to learn more about, but very curious to see what the folks in the audience are thinking here. Alrighty, I think we'll do a quick countdown here to keep things moving. Give you another 5 seconds to answer here, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so it looks like we've got a even smattering of folks here interested in consolidating data for ease of visibility, and half of those folks also choosing collaboration across their organization. That's really valuable for us to know here, and you know, can really help guide us moving forward into discussing some things that our audience values most here. So thanks for your participation, folks. Alrighty, we'll move back into another question we have here. One user is asking, where can I see additional UOC demos, and are there some videos that you can direct me to? You know, I think I can handle this one for the most part here, Jason. So on the Industrial Software Solutions website, we've got a pretty good smattering of videos available. If you go to our Unified Operations Center product page, there are several videos there, you know, ranging from some kind of quick overview videos to some more in-depth demonstrations available. Also, we've got a lot of good UOC videos on our educational videos page on our website. Also a really great resource to check out there as well. Jason, any additional thoughts there about, you know, some additional UOC resources?
And I would say that your friendly neighborhood system consultants at Industrial Software Solutions are also a great resource. If you have any specific questions, you know, in the future, have any ideas around applications or want to see a more tailored demo, we're also available to support that as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you. All right, we're going to administer our last poll question here. Very similar to the last question, but you know, probably realizing that there are some topics that we've not hit on in this webinar that may be very relevant to you folks as well. So we're curious, what topics outside of this webinar might you be interested in learning more about? As kind of an overview, we've got options for reporting and data analytics, IoT and cloud, asset performance management, engineering data management, and mobility solutions. So if you wouldn't mind, take just a moment there to make a selection and yeah, tell us what's piquing your interest. What would you like to learn more about from us? See, we've got a few folks trickling in, giving us some responses here. And I think we'll just do another 5 seconds here on this poll. We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so it looks like we've got a pretty even distribution of selections here. 25% of folks said they were interested in the reporting and data analytics. 50% said they were interested in IoT and cloud. 25% have an interest in asset performance management. 25% in engineering data management, and 25% in delving into mobility solutions. Well, thank you very much, folks, for participating in those polls. Again, you know, we want the feedback. We want to know what's piquing your interest, what's relevant to you, so you know, we can move forward with that information and you know, give you what you need to do your job as best as you can here. All right, Jason, I think I'll turn it back to you. Any closing thoughts here?
No, nothing specific. Once again, I would encourage you to, if you're not familiar with Aviva's portfolio and how extensive it is, or Aviva as a brand, it has the broadest portfolio in the industry, and just about anything you can think of wanting to do with industrial software in the industrial domain, industrial data reporting, cloud, chances are there's a very well-established solution for that. And us at ISS are more than happy to assist you with assessing your needs and guiding you to the right technologies.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for presenting here today, Jason. It looks like we've covered all the questions we've run through here. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today, folks. As a quick heads up, we will be following up with you in the next couple of days to provide you with a recording of this session for your on-demand access. In the meantime, take care and have a great rest of the day. Thanks again for joining us.